How did I get here? There's been several instances in my life where I asked myself this question, but there's two instances in particular that stand out to me the most. The first being a little over 5 years ago, when I hit this point of hopelessness and desperation, a rock bottom in my life, where I knew I was in dire need of something to change. The second was recently, when I first got to look into my little girl's eyes, and I asked, how did I get here? Today I'm going to inform you of how I am the person standing before you today. I'm going to talk to you about how my struggles and the changes that I had to make in my life has truly transformed into something beautiful. I brought this picture to signify a hope, so that when you hear the struggles and the hardships that I had faced, you can easily see that there was a sunlight at the end of my storm. I'll first go back to my dark place. I grew up in a small town in West Virginia, where very quickly drugs intoxicated my whole town. Everyone was affected, myself included. I became my own worst nightmare. I became a drug addict. I had constantly felt like that I was being pulled down by quicksand, and so badly I wanted out, but I didn't know how. I was physically and mentally just existing. I could not fathom the idea of what it was like to truly live. It was in that moment I asked, how did I get here? Next, we'll move forward to my moment of clarity. I like to call this my divine guidance, if you will. I got arrested. I was finally forced to ask myself, do you want to continue onto this path of destruction, or do you want a second chance? And I opted for a second chance. I packed up the little bit of clothes I had and I moved myself to Florida. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have hardly any money. But with the little bit of money that I did have, I got a bike. And with that bike, I went out and found a job. And when I got that job, I slowly started to meet people and gain friendships. And slowly but surely, my life started to come together. It was for the first time that I felt accomplished. I had gained a self-worth for myself. I grew up. I gained humility. Ultimately, I got happy. And the most recent time that I asked myself that famous question was on July 26th of this year, when I got to hold my little girl for the first time. How did I get here? I had finally made it. I had found unconditional love for myself and for another human being. I can honestly say that I can look in the mirror and be proud of that person staring back. It was in that moment that the nurse kind of pulled me out of my spell and she asked, what would you like to name your little girl? And out of my mouth popped Victoria. And interestingly enough, Victoria means victory in Latin. I had finally turned my struggles into a victory. And there you have it. That's how I became the person standing before you today. And as you can see, no matter what you're going through, no matter the hardships and the difficulties that you're going to face, there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Just don't give up.